A lot of people ask me all the time, Richie, what's heroin like? Why would you do heroin? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video, is what was heroin like? When it comes to heroin, it really does kind of belong in a class by itself compared to other opiates. And I've mentioned this before, is that heroin is a drug, and I hear people talk about this all the time. They have that cliche of like, it's being wrapped in a warm blanket on a cold day. It's like your mother giving you a hug when you get home from school. And I can see them trying to explain it that way, but I just always felt like that explanation sucked, because it's so much different than that. It's a hard thing to explain if you haven't experienced it, but literally for those, first 30 seconds or so when you shoot heroin, truly everything else ceases to exist. And then after that, you go into the next phase, which is known as the nod. You see people just going like this, and you figure they're just like sleeping, right? It's kind of like daydreaming while you're awake, right? So you close your eyes and it's kind of like you're dreaming. It's not like a hallucinogen, but you're basically dreaming, kind of daydreaming while you have your eyes closed and you're nodding out. So again, during this whole time, you feel like you have no problems, you have no worries. You could be in the middle of a cold winter day and just feel great because you're in your own world, right? As you're closing your eyes and you're daydreaming, I would have a lot of weird things happen. I'd see a lot of weird things, like, I'd see whole different movies play out in front of me, movies that I've never seen before. I would think that I was like talking to someone that's like giving me advice, giving me like the secrets of the universe, right? And you think you learned all these great things while you're nodding out and you're daydreaming, and then you wake up out of your nod and you don't really remember any of it. You just kind of remember a general idea of it. Sometimes I think I would be daydreaming and it would feel like I was in like a TV show almost. It's really hard to explain other than just basically you feel like you have no problems. In that moment, you are literally in a different world with no problems around you. And this is one of the things that makes it really difficult about heroin, is there's that phrase called chasing the dragon. And, the first time that you inject heroin, that's almost always going to be your best time. After that, you're going to chase that feeling over and over again. And while you may see glimpses of it, it may be half as good. It may even be 3/4 as good. It's never going to quite get you to the same place that you do your first time. Especially as an addict, you want more of it. And my tolerance would rise so high. And I would just barely feel this little spark of, that euphoria. And then I'd just nod out the rest of the time. And I always was trying to chase that rush. And, a lot of times people will overdo it, Well, the problem is with today's heroin, a lot of it's cut with other drugs. You don't know the purity of the stuff. It could be 100% pure heroin, which would be really strong and still could potentially kill you by itself. It could be 0% heroin, it could be all fentanyl, so you just don't know. Heroin's different too from a lot of other opiates that, at least for me, when I would do heroin, that's pretty much all I wanted to do, was just do my shot and nod out. Like, I didn't want to go out and watch a movie. I didn't want to go work out. I didn't want to write raps. I didn't want to write music. I just wanted to nod out and be in my own world. That's literally all you want to do. You're just nodding out. You're basically asleep in a dream. You're in that daydream state. You're in that nodding state, and you don't feel like doing anything. So, when I started injecting heroin, that's where my life really, really started to fall apart. I mean, trust me, I had my issues when I was, snorting pills every day. Don't get me wrong. Things were not good. The pills were not helping me in any way, but I could somewhat manage my life, right? When I got to the heroin, when I'm high on heroin, I don't feel like, trading stocks or trying to hustle up some money or trying to do these things. I just was doing the heroin. The huge thing to remember about heroin is it's about the worst withdrawal that you're going to have from any drug. Benzos, those are worse. Suboxone, that's worse. Methadone, that's worse. But like, as far as like, quote unquote recreational drugs that people do, heroin is by far the worst withdrawal. And the reason for that is not only do you have the psychological withdrawal of always wanting to chase that high, always wanting to have that rush experience, that huge great feeling where you chase the dragon. You also want to feel normal, right? So when you've gone about sometimes 6 to 12 hours, I went back to quote unquote normal, and then I'd even start to feel withdrawals within, 6 hours time. Within 24 hours, a lot of times I would be puking, I'd be crapping my pants. I would just feel horrible. And then when you get to 48 hours, that's when the true agony sets in. You have the hot and cold sweats. You're shaking. You're puking all over yourself. You're crapping your pants at the same time. You're just going through pure agony. Add on top of this whole level of anxiety and depression and despair that you've never felt in your entire life. Every mistake that you've ever thought of will be playing through your head, and you just want to escape it so bad. You know, if you do just one more shot, that you can escape that agony that you're feeling. You can escape that pain. It feels like the devil himself is coming and tormenting you, not just physically with the withdrawals, but mentally as well too. And I think a lot of people underestimate how bad the mental withdrawals from heroin are as well too, because the physical withdrawals are just so terrible. I always tell people this: picture the worst flu of your life, multiply that by about 10 or 15, and that's heroin withdrawal. And you're feeling it for at least 5 days, sometimes 7, sometimes 4, sometimes with the fentanyl now it can be up to 2 weeks, right? Because it has a longer half-life. But you're feeling that for days at a time, and I always tell people that don't understand, why does someone overdose and then go and shoot up another shot that same day? Well, if you had the worst flu of your life, right, and you're going through this terrible flu, and you knew you could take one medication, you pop one NyQuil, you take one sip of NyQuil, and you're gonna feel better. That pain's instantly going to stop. Would you not be tempted to take that medication? And that's why heroin is one of the worst withdrawals out there, because not only is the mental addiction so bad of it, the physical addiction sometimes is so bad that even if people want to quit, they literally can't quit. Ladies and gentlemen, there was so many times during my active addiction, I truly wanted to quit doing heroin. I wanted to quit so bad. I wanted nothing else more than to quit. But I'd get to day 2 or day 3 of the withdrawal and, I couldn't sleep anymore. I couldn't puke anymore. I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink. I couldn't do anything. I just felt awful that I had to give in. I had to go get high. And that's why it's so important to have detox, rehab, and recovery resources available for people. If you want people to quit using drugs, you need to offer them detox. It's almost impossible for 99.9% of us to quit without detox. There's always that one freaking psychopath that can just smile and quit heroin cold turkey, right? And, for that, I commend you that you can do that. I couldn't. I have a very high pain tolerance. I have a very high mental fortitude. I'm a very hardworking person. If I put my mind to something, I'm gonna freaking do it. Except withdrawing from heroin. It was too hard. It was. Just looking back on it, it's crazy how dependent, what a slave I was to that drug. I'm shooting up this dirty dope. I have abscesses on my arm. I have infections on my arm. I've lost 30, 40 pounds. I got 5 warrants out for my arrest. I'm facing 5 years in prison. I'm breaking my mom's heart each and every day. I've lost all of my dreams, all of my hope, and it's crazy the places that drugs will take you and the things that they'll make you do, the person that it'll make you become, if you want to call it that. At certain points during my addiction to heroin, it was like I was less than a person. I was just a shell, just functioning, like my soul wasn't there. I was just empty. If you ever see one of my mugshots, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can see it in my eyes. They're empty. They're hollow. My mom used to say the same thing about me too. She would say, that's not my son anymore. That's something else. I still love him. I'm still going to try and help bring him back, but he's not there right now. And that was real. Luckily today, I'm happy to say next month I'll have 6 years clean and sober. No freaking heroin. Not at all. Not even once. Not even just a little bit. So if you guys are watching this video, I just wanted to do it, something educational. Let you guys know what using heroin feels like. Why you shouldn't do it. Give you the whole story. I'm not going to lie to you and not say that it didn't feel good, because I'd be lying to you. But was it worth it? No. Not at all. The pain that you feel from the addiction that results from that temporary pleasure is not worth it in any sense of the word. I went through that hell of addiction for over 7 years, and today I've got 6 years clean. And for anybody watching that's struggling, please reach out to me. You don't have to keep going through this. You don't have to detox in a jail cell like I did. That doesn't have to be you. If you got a loved one, if you're a mom watching this at home, message me. Your son or daughter doesn't have to keep going through this. There's steps you can take to set some boundaries to encourage them to get help, just like my mom did for me. As always, if you or someone you love are struggling with drug or alcohol addiction, please message me. I have detox resources. And you can go to detox. You can go to rehab. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be rich to go to detox or go to rehab. These resources are covered by your insurance. These resources, you can sign up for Medicaid, whether you have insurance or not. Send me a message on my Facebook page, and I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. So if you're struggling, send me a message. I can get you detox resources so you don't have to go through the same hell that I went through. Guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. Let me know in the comments, what did heroin feel like for you, or what did you think that heroin would feel like? Did you guys get anything out of the video? Would you like to see more videos like this? If so, what other drugs should I cover? Should I talk about meth, Adderall, Percocet, fentanyl? You guys let me know and I can make some more videos like this. Don't forget to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. Thanks guys, we'll see you soon.